How's it going, everyone? This is the George here, and happy National Cinema Day. It is National Cinema Day, and it's the day where you can see a movie for $4 in a theater. And I decided for this year, instead of seeing a new movie again or seeing a new movie for the first time, I'm going to continue the tradition that I built upon last year. For those of you who remember, I saw Jaws in IMAX for National Cinema Day last year. I had a great time with that. I love the movie Jaws, and watching it in IMAX was amazing. This year, I decided to go to my local Alamo Draft House for the first time. I've never been to one of these theaters before, and saw Vertigo. This film was directed by Alfred Hitchcock and starred James Stewart. And I've seen Vertigo a few times in the last few years since I've seen the movie for the first time. I saw the movie for the first time back in 2017. It was New Year's of 2017. And I think it was TCM that was showing the movie. And I watched it for the first time and liked the movie a lot. And the more times I've watched this movie throughout the years, the more that I've grown to love this movie. And when it comes to Alfred Hitchcock as a director, because I know he was controversial as a person, but as a director, this is one of the best directors in history. The first time I watched an Alfred Hitchcock movie was back in middle school. I was 12 years old. It was the first time I went to a movie club. I've been involved in a few movie clubs in middle school and high school. And Rear Window was the first movie I watched at movie club. And, I didn't I didn't know how I was gonna feel about this movie because it was the first time I heard about this movie. I know it was an old movie, and I didn't hate old movies, but obviously at that time I was more into newer stuff that had more special effects that looked a lot cooler. But Rear Window was a film that I fell in love with right away. It's a movie that I've watched every year or try to watch every year since then, and that's probably my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie of all time. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. And even though Vertigo is not my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie, it is still one of my favorites from Alfred Hitchcock. This is a great movie that puts you on the edge of your seat, that has a lot of thrills, and has a great mystery element to it, as well as a psychological, mental aspect to it. So the mystery aspect, which is like the plot of the movie, is after an incident where a police officer fell off a roof and his fear of heights got the best of him, Johnny Ferguson, nicknamed Scotty, retires from the force. But one of his old friends, Gavin, asks him to monitor his wife, who's displaying strange behavior. And he finds out that her great-grandmother was Carlotta Valdez, who, at the same age that Madeline is, committed suicide. And so he's trying to protect her. He later meets her and falls in love with her. And the film also has an aspect where you look into the psychological, mental aspect of someone who thinks they let someone that they love die, and there's guilt because they felt like they could have prevented it. But then they start showing some some unhealthy, obsessive behavior in regards to this person. So as far as the mystery aspect goes, I love the mystery aspect of this movie. And James Stewart as Scotty, he gives a brilliant performance. James Stewart's one of my all-time favorite actors. I love him in any movie. He knows how to do any genre, whether he's doing a comedy such as the movie Harvey or It's a Wonderful Life, like playing George Bailey. He is phenomenal in that, his best performance ever. He always knows the role, knows what the character is, and just gives it his all. Kim Novak as Madeline is also brilliant. However, it is later discovered in the movie that she was not the real wife of Gavin. She was pretending to be the wife, and they worked together to cover up a murder plot to kill Gavin's real wife, the real Madeline, and she's really someone named Judy, who, despite the manipulations of Scotty and taking advantage of his fears, fell in love with him. So this is also a romantic movie, because at first you're probably wondering yourself, okay, this woman is married and yet she's fallen in love with her husband's friend. Like this is not exactly how a love story should go. But then when you find out who she really was, it makes a whole lot more sense, and particularly with her feelings. But the mystery aspect, I thought they did a great job. And there's also even though there's also things in the beginning that play a crucial role later in the movie. For example, the first places that he is tracking Madeline, or in real case, Judy, whether it's this restaurant that he sees her at, a flower store, at a museum, looking at the painting of Carlotta Valdez. As this is very crucial because in the second half of the movie, when he is obsessing over her despite her being dead, seeing people that are wearing similar women wearing similar clothes to what she was wearing, the places that he first saw her at, the same restaurant, the same art museum. A lot, like Alfred Hitchcock pays very much well attention to the details of his movies. He pays attention to how things are done, especially when they become crucial later in the film, because later in the film, the way that Judy outs herself is when they think they're finally going to be happy together. She puts on the necklace that he sees in the painting, and he puts two and two together and realizes what really happened and solved the mystery of what really transpired. And I just love those details because you would think something like a necklace, the viewer might not pay attention to all that much because it's a small detail compared to some of these other big details. Because before she puts on the necklace, he's having her wear the same gray suit that she was wearing, makes her hair similar to Madeline's hair. So stuff like that, that's very significant. But then when he sees the necklace in real life from the painting, that's when he realizes what has happened. And the character development of Scotty in this movie, how his character goes, I think was handled brilliantly. From someone who struggling with the fear of heights, he's making some witty jokes at the beginning. He's helping his friend take care of his wife, but then he falls in love with her, and then when he thinks he couldn't save her, the guilt, the mental toll that it takes on him, to when he's being very obsessive, when he's like staring at women that remind him of Madeline, to when he tracks down Judy and is following her, to forcing Judy to change her appearance to look just like Madeline, to eventually discovering it and being rightfully pissed off. Just like the way this character was handled, James Stewart just delivered the performance brilliantly. I gotta talk about the special effects work as well, because this is also because the intro to this movie, the opening credits, that's the first time computer animation was done, and even over 60 years later, it looks really good. There's a scene where after Madeline's death and before he is obsessing over her, he's having a dream sequence, a nightmare sequence, and the visual animation work, the editing work, it looks incredible. A lot of the effects work in here, the editing work, the cinematography looks great in here. And watching this movie on a big screen for the first time, because I've seen this movie on TV a few times, the quality just looks great. And I had a better appreciation for the effects work that this movie did. Now, I'll say one thing that doesn't look like it aged all that well is when the real Madeline, when she is pushed off the tower, or when you see her falling, that's the only thing that I think has aged poorly. But I'm not really giving the movie a lot of flack because this is a movie that came out before 1960. So I'm not going to be too tough on the movie. I know a lot of people will ask, well, why didn't Scotty check the body? I mean, it was a shocking thing for him. He was in shock, and he was obviously devastated, and he's not going to want to look at her after he thinks she died. So I think that's just a nitpick that people try to make with a classic movie such as this. But yeah, it looked so great on the big screen. The quality looked great, and I had a bigger appreciation for the effects work that was put into this movie. And I love that Hitchcock combined the things that he is really great at doing. looking into the psychological behavior of characters to a mystery aspect with characters. He combined it so well in this movie. He did such a great job doing that. And overall, I had a great time watching this movie on the big screen. The performances were brilliant. The score, probably my favorite Hitchcock score. I love the score of this movie. Such a great score. The opening credits, the effects work with the opening credits and the dream sequence, the nightmare sequence, done very well. Can't think of anything to go after this movie with. This is a fantastic movie, and it ends in a way where you on one hand, because Judy played a role in someone's murder and manipulated his feelings, manipulated Sky's feelings to the point where he was very obsessive, and it was not healthy for him, and broke his heart. On one hand, you would think, well, what happened to this character Judy? Because she's scared to the point where she, by a nun appearing on the building, where she falls off the tower and dies in a similar way that Madeline died. You think on one hand this character got what she deserved, but at the same time you feel bad for Scotty and all the things that he went through, and he didn't really win at the end. He's struggled. He's got a broken heart. He was left frustrated, and yeah, he did eventually get over his fear. And by the way, the camera work with articulating how scared he is of climbing, particularly when he's climbing that church tower, the camera work that they do, great work. It still ends in a way where Scotty does not get his happy ending. But overall, I'm gonna give Vertigo an A plus. I highly recommend you check this film out, whether it's playing at a Alamo Draft House near you or another theater that's showing classic movies, or you can probably find this movie on TCM one night or find it on DVD if you order it on DVD or you rent it online. Go see Vertigo. It's one of Alfred Hitchcock's best. Now, what's your favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie? Let me know in the comments down below. And what did you think of Vertigo if you saw it? Also, let me know in the comments down below. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and that's a fan of Alfred Hitchcock and loves the movie Vertigo. And I hope to see you guys real soon. Have a happy National Cinema Day. Take care, everyone.